lost my debit card. Now I have two. By u/X Visenya X. I'm sorry for any mistakes. English is not my first language. This is my first and only glitch so far, and it happened around February. I wanted to pay online and couldn't find my debit card, and I remembered that my husband used it to pay for car insurance. So, I asked him where it was. He told me that he put it back in my wallet. I emptied it and searched my wallet in front of him, and the card wasn't there. So, we searched our apartment twice, but nothing. I emptied and searched my wallet again. Nothing. In the next 2 weeks, we looked for it occasionally, but it was nowhere to be found, and I emptied my wallet for the third time with my husband. We both looked through it, and all the cards that I have, but still nothing. And so I went to the bank and got a new one. A few days later, when I was about to pay in a grocery shop, I opened my wallet and noticed that there are 2 cards in one card holder now, which is pretty obvious. First was my ID card, and I took it out, and lo and behold, my old debit card. It was absolutely not stuck to my ID, and even if it were, I'd notice it when I repeatedly took it out and put it back in my wallet. So, now I have 2 cards. If it were just me, I'd probably persuade myself that I just overlooked it. But my husband was here all the time and helped me with my search and is baffled as much as I am. We don't have an explanation for this. Where was my card all this time? And how did I get it back? I decided to keep my old card so that I won't forget this absurd experience. Is this a glitch or something paranormal? By u/Princess Dead. This might not be weird and creepy as some of the stories here, but I'm actually really confused. Also, please excuse my English since it's not my first language. Last summer, I went on a short road trip to Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina with my boyfriend. One night, we had a dinner in a traditional Bosnian restaurant, and we got a photograph of the staff posing and dressed up in traditional Bosnian clothes as a gift. I guess other guests got this gift too. I took this photo with me and brought it home because I wanted to keep it as a memory of our trip. When I got home, I put the photo in a drawer in my bedroom desk, and that's it. Fast forward 3 to 4 months, I was getting ready for something, walked in my room, and saw this restaurant picture sitting on my desk vertically. It wasn't just sitting there randomly. It was leaning against some object that I had on my desk, so it was full on display. Literally, like it wanted to be seen and exhibited there for everyone else to see. Of course, I was confused, but thought that maybe my mom was looking for something in my drawer and put the photo up there. I asked her, and she was like, "What the fuck? No." And said that she saw the picture and wanted to ask me why I would display a random restaurant photo on the desk for no reason. We both thought it was weird but dismissed it because we thought that one of us must have done it unknowingly. And it's literally just the 2 of us living in the house. Nobody else has access to my room at that moment. I put the photo back in a drawer and continued living life. That happened a few weeks ago, but now I am absolutely creeped out. Literally an hour ago, I was just sitting in my room, chilling and watching a movie, and I heard something fell on the floor near the desk. I went to see what it was, and there's this damn restaurant photo just laying there. It was in the drawer, and it somehow fell from who knows where and landed on my floor. Where did it come from? I wasn't even near my desk. I was across the room on my bed. What the hell is happening? Is that damn picture haunted, or am I just in the Matrix? Met a Strange Man in the City by u/fuck-eyed for less. This happened about 2 years ago, and I constantly think about it still. I wish I could recall every single detail, but I'll try the best that I can. I had a job fundraising in the city, so I was approaching and talking to many different people every single day. Looking back now, it all blurs in together. But there was one day that I will never ever forget. After not being able to close a sale with someone, I noticed a very loud character on the other side of the road near my coworkers. He was laughing and carrying on, and I could see the other people in my job couldn't find a way to approach him. The best I can describe his character is flamboyant. He had very dark skin, was wearing black jeans, red shoes, and a red shirt and red headphones. I wish I could remember his name. He came over to my side of the road to save a bee, and since my job was helping raise money for animals, I took the chance to step in and try to make a sale. Upon meeting face to face, the first thing that I noticed was that he was wearing blue eye contacts, and I complimented them as a way to break the ice. He explains how he needs them to see, and then says something like, "Well, without these, how could I see your beautiful eyes?" and proceeded to stop passerbys to get them to look at my eyes. In this moment, I thought, well, shit, I'm not gonna be able to get to the point with this guy. Anyways, he suggested we sit down nearby to get talking, so I agreed. I wish I could remember everything we talked about, but the only thing I can say is that this is the most intense conversation that I have ever had. He told me all the degrees he has achieved in university multiple times, and also explained how he has photographic memory. He kept telling me that his family is the Rothschilds, and therefore, he could put himself into $1 million debt if he really wanted to. He told me that he tried crack once, and he will never touch it ever again because his uncle was on it and hung himself in front of his family. Which is exactly what happened with my auntie. She did the same thing. I looked at him in shock and told him this, and he just said, "I know." He kept recalling stories that sounded exactly the same as things that I had been through. There were a few other things that we had in common, and this year, I found out that my great-granddad was in the Rothschilds. I wish I could recall this more clearly, but something has told me that this guy didn't just happen to be in the same place as me that day. My Sister Made It Real by u/Uereks. I was living at home a few years back. My mother's house is one of those miniature lower middle class houses where all the rooms are tiny. So there isn't a lot of room in my bedroom. If 2 people are in my room at the same time, you have to move around them. I'm standing at one end of the room on my phone when my sister walked in and started talking to me about something. So, I sat my phone down on the glass top vanity, which is a little table with a mirror for makeup and stuff, with a distinct clack of the phone against thick glass, and I stand there talking to my sister for a minute or so. When the conversation is over and she's about to turn around, I leave and I reach for my phone, but it isn't there. Confusion, still standing in the same spot, I glance around the room and spot my phone lying on the dresser by my sister, which is on the opposite side of the room, right next to her. My mind was 100% ready to write this off, just to think, oh, that's weird, and then move along with my day. But then I noticed the look of abject horror on my sister's face. She said, "You set your phone down on the vanity." She was right. I had set it down on the vanity when she walked in. I heard the clack, and I hadn't moved. It would have been pretty awkward in my small room for me to have maneuvered around my bed and my sister to place the phone on the dresser next to her. It definitely made no sense, but it got me thinking. How often do I write off experiences like this because no one else is around? I was so ready to just not think about it, and we still talk about this to this day. This isn't a fancy glitch, but an odd reoccurring one. So, I absolutely hate all jams except strawberry jam. But my jars of strawberry jams have been turning to raspberry jams in my fridge. It always happens after eating quite a bit of it too, which makes it even more odd. To preface with some facts, I am the only person who buys groceries in my house, and this has happened in 2 different apartments over the last 5 years, so probably not a carbon monoxide issue. I don't eat jam or fruit preserves that frequently, but I like to have it in the fridge for when I occasionally have a craving for toast, butter, and strawberry jam specifically. So, whenever I move, I'll specifically stock my fridge with condiments and things that I might need, and I'll buy a proper jar of jam. The first time this happened was 4 years ago when I bought Bon Mammon and was specifically psyched to try their strawberry jam. I distinctly remember picking out the strawberry one. I have clear memories of having it that day and a couple of times after. Not with toast, but that's another story. And a good half of it was gone. I forget about it for a couple months, and then one day, my partner starts to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He likes blueberry jam, so I got him a Smucker's. So I specifically asked him to use the strawberry for mine. He brings me the sandwich and I take one bite. And it's off? It doesn't taste like strawberries. It's far more tart. I just thought that he was being lazy and put the blueberry on mine to not have to wash the spoon. I literally never eat any jam other than strawberry, so I have no frame of reference. As I'm grumbling about that, he shows me the open jar on the counter, and it says it's raspberry. I was so confused because I had eaten from it before and it was strawberry. I even cooked a recipe that required strawberry jam with it. But my partner laughed it off and just said that I must have forgotten bought the wrong one. It didn't make any sense, but I just let it go. We've bought squeeze bottles of Smuckers a few more times at the apartment, but never a jar again, and all of those were fine. Fast forward to 6 months ago, I moved. I decide to buy a proper strawberry jam in a jar again before my parents visit. My mom loves strawberry jam too, Smuckers in a jar this time. All's good. We even have it for breakfast a couple times. Butter and toast and everything. But last week, I got some nice bread, so I thought about getting the strawberry jam out. And lo and behold, it's raspberry again. I checked with my parents and they remember eating strawberry jam. I remember it being strawberry, but it just changed again. What an odd but specific glitch to keep happening over and over again. So I thought that I would share. I also have another story. It's related, but I'm not sure if it's a glitch. Like I said, I have a super distinct childhood memory of having warm, almost burnt toast with salted butter and strawberry preserves with my mother. Ever since I moved out, I've occasionally gotten the hankering for it, but I have never been able to make it alone at my home for some annoying reason. And there was always a reason. First, I didn't own a toaster because I was a broke student. And then when I got one, I couldn't find a single apartment where it didn't set off the fire alarm. So I stopped using it entirely after trying to maneuver a toast bread in the balcony a few times. This was a hassle which only led to cold toast afterwards. I tried toasting the bread on the pan, but I had a shitty induction stove which never got to the right level of toastiness and texture. And I eventually just gave up trying to have this combo at home. I would occasionally get to have it at breakfast diners, but the toast was always a little too cool, or when I would meet my mom and specifically eat breakfast. So yeah, I have this super distinct childhood memory that I have never been able to recreate myself because I can't toast bread, and my jams keep changing flavors. When I was a hostess at a restaurant, I sat 2 people before they even got there. Bayou/abandoned truck stop. When I was in college, I worked at a sports bar/restaurant in Colorado. Before I was able to become a waitress, I had to be a hostess for a month. On Saturday, we got pretty busy because there was a local baseball game happening. I was seating people pretty frequently throughout the afternoon. Toward the end of the lunch rush, a couple came into the restaurant. I remember commenting on the woman's large turquoise necklace, telling her how pretty it was as I showed them to a table on the back patio, having some useless and polite conversation with them the whole time. I went and got them waters and brought them to the table, told them that their server would be them shortly, then returned to the host stand. About 5 minutes later, the same couple walked into the restaurant and toured the host stand. I was very confused and asked if they needed to be reseated. The lady looked at me seemingly just as confused as I was, and I noticed her large turquoise necklace again. The man said, "2, please." And I instinctively grabbed 2 menus and told them to follow me, thinking someone was playing a joke on me. I turned the corner to get a view out of the back patio where I sat the couple originally, and saw that the table was empty. Per the couple's request to sit outside again, I led them to the patio and noticed 2 waters and 2 menus sitting on the table already. I didn't know what to do, so I picked everything up and told them that I would get them some new waters. I made my way to the bar to get water, and the waitress from the back patio section came up and asked if I was okay. She said that 5 minutes earlier she saw me walk to the patio holding 2 menus, as if I was seating people but there was nobody there. Then, I came back with waters and put them down, as if I was talking to people but the seats were still empty. She said she was on her way to come check on me because her and other guests on the back porch were concerned about what I was doing, talking to nobody. I asked if there were people there now, and she looked confused and said, "Yes." So, from what I can gather, I saw, talked to, and sat these two people before they actually came into the restaurant. I have no explanation for this, and I'm wondering if anyone else has ever had an experience like this. Something very weird happened yesterday. By u/Mr. Shenane 98. Well, two strange things happened that we can't explain. My buddy and I took a day trip to pick up a motorcycle yesterday, and for the most part, everything was completely normal. Aside from insanely stupid drivers, but that's the city for you. The whole trip took about 10 hours, as we live in a small town that's pretty far away from the city that we had to go to. On our way back, we were on a pretty empty stretch of highway, and the only other vehicle was a blue Tundra SR5 going the same direction as us that he decided to pass. Well, here's where the strange things start to happen. A few minutes before we passed the Tundra, I noticed a decent-sized chip in the windshield of my buddy's truck, which was weird because we hadn't seen it the entire trip and didn't notice anything hitting his windshield that would have caused it. But whatever, it happens, right? We passed the truck, and not 10 seconds after, he turned to me and said, "Huh? Where the hell did that blue Tundra go?" I asked him if he was talking about the one that we just passed, and all he said was, "So you saw it too, right?" I turned around and there was nothing behind us but an empty highway. Mind you, this is Texas on a flat stretch of highway. There were no exits, turn-offs, or turnarounds where we were, and even if they were, the truck was going about 70, so they wouldn't have been able to stop fast enough to turn. If they did manage that, we would still have seen it. And the last weird part happened today. I went over to my buddy's house to help move some stuff around. He went to his truck, and after a little bit, he called me over to take a look at his windshield. There was no chip in it or whatsoever. We searched for it for probably 10 minutes, but there was nothing, just smooth glass. Even though it's mundane compared to some of the stories here, we are both completely dumbfounded by what all happened. We know we saw the Tundra, and we know there was a chip in his windshield, but both vanished with no explanation. Does anybody have any advice or similar stories? Fudgsicle took a weird bounce into another dimension. By u/Not Your Mama. Okay, this has bothered me for years. My family was moving out of our home. My middle son was starting college, and my husband had to start a new job. I stayed at our home with my 12-year-old daughter, and I was just waiting for the movers, and then we were getting on the road ourselves. On the first day the mover came, I asked him to leave one mattress, and I said that I would pack the small TV in my car. So, they packed up 85% of the house, and all that is left in my bedroom is the mattress that they're going to get the next day, a blanket and the TV. I needed to clean out the fridge, so I asked my daughter if she wants the last Fudgsicle. She is sitting on the mattress near the wall, and I toss it to her. So, it bounces off of her hands and then hits the wall. We both see this and look at the floor. We logically know that it must be on the floor. Except, it isn't. I move the mattress. I even go grab a book and toss it to her, hoping to recreate the path this dessert has taken. And we are both losing our minds. The furniture is gone, so it can't be hiding. Also, it's a frozen chocolate Fudgsicle, and I have light carpet. But we never found it. Movers came and I cleaned all the carpets, did a walkthrough with the agency that was going to rent out this house for us. But still, no dessert. No stain to clean up, no wrapper, no stick, no nothing. My daughter is now 20 and recalls this very clearly and has brought it up as the weirdest thing to ever happen to her. We still have no idea how or why. And I'm pretty sure that my daughter, in an alternate dimension, has a story about how I had nothing in my hand and a Fudgsicle landed on her. Hello everyone, it's your creepy sister here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate each and every one of you. But I would also like to thank my amazing patrons, my top tippers, and my dearest channel members. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it with all of my heart. If you want to support the channel further, you can also choose to become a patron, a tipper, or a channel member. But remember, it's appreciated, but never a requirement. I would also like to announce that we have merch now. The link is in the description of the video, along with all my other social media links, like my Discord server, Twitter, Instagram, and others. You can connect with me and send your stories there. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and comments are highly appreciated. And remember, your fear feeds me.